poke plump fingers into the rich black loam. He would smile a gummy, though slightly weary smile, and stretch wide his arms. She, too, would open her tired arms wide, wide. Then they would say in a duet, his mouth a puckered pink petal, hers quivering with tenderness and a certain amusement, "So big," with the voice soaring on the prolonged vowel and dropping suddenly with the second word. Part of the game. The child became so habituated to this question that sometimes, if Selina happened to glance round at him suddenly in the midst of her task, he would take his cue without the familiar question being put, and would squeal his "So big" rather absently in dutiful solo. Then he would throw back his head and laugh a triumphant laugh, his open mouth a choral orifice. She would run to him and swoop down upon him and bury her flushed face in the warm, moist creases of his neck, and make as though to devour him. So big. But of course, he wasn't. He wasn't as big as that. In fact, he never became as big as the wide-stretched arms of her love and imagination would have had him. You would have thought she should have been satisfied when, in later years, he was the Dirk de Jong whose name you saw engraved at the top of heavy cream linen paper, so rich and thick and stiff as to have the effect of being starched and ironed by some costly American business process, whose clothes were made by Peter Peel, the English tailor, whose roadster ran on a French chassis, whose cabinet held mellow Italian vermouth and Spanish sherry, whose wants were served by a Japanese houseman, whose life, in short, was that of the successful citizen of the Republic. But she wasn't. Not only was she dissatisfied, she was at once remorseful and indignant, as though she, Selina de Jong, the vegetable peddler, had been partly to blame for this success of his, and partly cheated by it. When Selina de Jong had been Selina Peake, she had lived in Chicago with her father. They had lived in many other cities as well. In Denver during the rampant 80s, in New York when Selina was 12, in Milwaukee briefly. There was even a San Francisco interlude which was always a little sketchy in Selina's mind, and which had ended in a departure so hurried as to bewilder even Selina, who had learned to accept sudden comings and abrupt goings without question. "Business," her father always said. "Little deal." She never knew until the day of his death how literally the word deal was applicable to his business transactions. Simeon Peake, traveling the country with his little daughter, was a gambler by profession, temperament, and natural talents. When in luck, they lived royally, stopping at the best hotels, eating strange, succulent sea viands, going to the play, driving in hired rigs, always with 2 horses. If Simeon Peake had not enough money for a 2-horse equipage, he walked. When fortune hid her face, they lived in boarding houses, ate boarding-house meals, wore the clothes bought when fortune's breath was balmy. During all this time, Selina attended schools, good, bad, private, public, with surprising regularity, considering her nomadic existence. Deep-bosomed matrons, seeing this dark-eyed, serious child seated alone in a hotel lobby or boarding-house parlor, would bend over her in solicitous questioning. "Where is your mamma, little girl?" "She is dead," Selina would reply, politely and composedly. "Oh, my poor little dear." Then, with a warm rush, "Don't you want to come and play with my little girl? She loves little girls to play with, The M of the interrogation held hummingly, tenderly. "No, thank you very much. I'm waiting for my father. He would be disappointed not to find me here." These good ladies wasted their sympathy. Selina had a beautiful time. Except for 3 years, to recall which was to her like entering a somber icy room on leaving a warm and glowing one. Her life was free